they start to set seed.
So would you please repeat this? If we are planting together CBD and
So if we're planting for CBD and we want unfertilized female flowers, because that's where the highest concentration of cannabinoids are located, then we do not want grain crops or fiber crops close to us, because that pollen, Dr. Besson talked about what a rich pollinator it is. We don't want that pollen to come over here and fertilize these female plants.
Right.
So we don't have any hard data that says what that distance should be, but everything that I read and people that I've talked to say anywhere between 3 and 5 miles distance, so that pollen does not get here.
Yeah.
But we don't know that.
If you want to grow crop for CBD, then it should be very controlled.
Right. And so here in Kentucky, the Kentucky Department of Agriculture has a listing of all the people that plant, and they have it by county.
Okay.
So if I'm in Fayette County and I'm doing CBD, then you can bet I'm going to look on that list and say, oh, there's John Smith. I know he's got a farm just 2 miles down the road. I better talk to him, you know. And so John says, yeah, I'm growing for grain. Sorry about your luck, you know. Hopefully you could come to some understanding, you know, but bottom line is, if he wants to plant for grain, you want to plant for CBD,
They're not compatible.
they're not compatible, and you have to get.
And-
So then, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to mention, just for clarification, even though we have pollinators coming to the hemp over there, the male plants, they're only stealing pollen. They do not pollinate hemp. Hemp is only wind pollinated. So the insects are pollen thieves.
yeah.
So again, we're looking at different herbicides. This was planted with a tobacco setter, and then this is a different variety. One of the ones that you saw up here. So again, it's older, it's dying back now, and then we've got some more transplants and some more. So we've got some different replications on this. But again, we would expect this to be much bigger with more rainfall.
Yeah.
People ask how you harvest it.
Yeah, good question.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you see here that these plants that are for CBD have lots of branching, all right, versus these that are pretty much columnar, okay? They don't have a lot of branching. So each one of these branches are putting out, you know, their own female flowers.
Yeah.
So the more of these we get, the more CBD or cannabinoids we get per acre. So how do we harvest them? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, you got a
No, I was
question.
just saying that I have seen this kind of plants in India.
Yeah.
Wild plants.
Uh-huh.
Wild.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
lot of wild plants.
And
Yeah.
there is no control over there. So it's just like weed.
You're right,
growing
right.
in the
And so,
backyard.
you know, hemp's been around in India for thousands of years.
Yeah.
You know,
They use for a lot of medical purposes.
yeah.
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 But because we haven't done the research, the processing companies are pretty much driving how this is harvested. Because we can't tell you that this variety out yields that variety yet, because we don't have that 4 or 5 or 10 years or 15 years worth of data. The processors are saying, look, you're working with us. We're providing you with plants or whatever. We want you to use our planting model, our fertility model. We want you to use our genetics. We want you to use our harvest model. And so the 3 primary models right now are actually taking and cutting this plant off at the base and then hanging it up in either an old tobacco barn or a warehouse to dry it down to get it stabilized. Some people are actually taking and cutting the individual buds off and putting them in like tote sacks and then spreading them out on a warehouse floor. And then some are actually just coming through and chopping it like you would corn silage and drying it in that condition. Drying it quickly so that it doesn't mold. I don't know of anybody. There is a company out there, I think, that is working on ensiling it like you would corn, but I can't swear to that. So, but bottom line is the processor
Wow.
is driving it.
What is it?
Oh, wow.
Tobacco hornworm?
Yeah, it's feeding on the nightshade. It's not feeding on the hemp. It's feeding on the nightshade.
So,
I think that's nightshade.
so
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
So this is
I've
plant.
never seen
So this is
anything
plant
like it in my
beneficial.
life.
Well, I guess the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
So this one will be beneficial today.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's hard to identify the nightshade as drought-stricken as
Oh
it
yeah,
is.
look at it. Look at it. Now you know it's dry when that nightshade curls up like that.
I saw some Johnson grass dying in fields.
Yeah. It's dry. It is dry. And
But
there's
you know,
not-
so you know, in this herbicide trial, some of the key things they're looking at not only the weed control, but also the crop safety with the herbicides with the hemp. So is it slowing their growth? Is it reducing the stand and that type of thing?
Right. And so you can see in this plot right here, we've got some up there, you know, a lot of the hemp didn't make it. And even though we know it's dry, we know there's no plants in there to take up any moisture. And so, you know, some of the herbicides control the weeds, but it also controls the hemp.
They did a good job on the weeds here, but unfortunately the hemp got hit too.
Yep. And then here's our old buddy, the cracked ground. So, but a lot of the CBD is done with drip irrigation, so they've been getting water, and the plants look really good. So, but there's just a tremendous amount that we don't know yet. And, so, yeah, when lamb's quarter curls up and nightshades curl up and crabgrass curls up, we know it's